Welcome to Garage Gym Experiment. My name is Rob. You hear me on Home Gym History, but I'm here at HomeGymCon in 2023, and I have the unique opportunity to sit down with the gentlemen at this table and talk about their inventions and have an Inventors Roundtable live in person. So why not do a little cross podcasting and host a Garage Gym Experiment podcast episode. So welcome, gentlemen. Let's go around the table and introduce you to the viewers. So we've got Jason from Surplus Strength.
I'm Jason from Surplus Strength.
Nice.
Patryk, Bridge Built.
Dylan from AbMat.
And Steve Kleva from Kleva Built.
Excellent. So it's Sunday here at HomeGymCon. It's coming to a close. We've got a couple more hours of the convention. I wanted to start out and just say, how's it been going? All of you have booths here at HomeGymCon. You've been interacting with people, with other vendors, with ticket holders, with other inventors. So how's it been going, guys? Let's start with Dylan.
I'm happy to be here, part of the first ever HomeGymCon. I think this was a very intimate experience with a lot of different vendors that I've had the opportunity to work with over the past several years. It was really cool to get meet people in person for the first time and put a face to the name. A lot of people on social media that I didn't expect to be out here that I got to meet for the first time. It's kind of strange hearing people's voices and never seeing what they look like and then meeting them in person. And sometimes it's a little awkward because you got to stand in a booth for a little while. This is our first time ever doing a trade show, so it was a little nerve-wracking coming in here, having to put yourself on display, but this was a really good test run for us, and we'll be back next year.
I'm not just giving you rainbows and puppy dogs here. I had no idea. It's your first time doing a trade show?
Yeah, this is our first ever trade show, and we were we never even had a booth, and I just knew I didn't want to show up with the tablecloth. And yeah, sorry about that.
Well, I was impressed. That's very cool, man. So how about you, Steve?
Well, like Dylan said, it's pretty much for the same reason. It's nice to see everyone. I've talked to Jason, Patryk, and Dylan quite a bit, and it's nice to finally meet people in person and be a part of this event for the first time. And I think, like you said, it's been more intimate because I feel like everyone already knows each other. So I could see this being, an every year thing that just continues to grow. And I can see looking back on this and think like, wow, we didn't even know what to expect. And, I think it was a good turnout, and it's cool that Jake put that together. And I had fun, and it was nice to see everybody and kind of network.
I would agree with all that, and I don't want to beat a dead horse and, pass it over to you guys to say the same thing. So to change it up a little bit, what about the stuff you brought here? This is Inventors Roundtable. So Patryk, is there anything you brought here that's newer or soon to be released? Anything like that?
Yeah, the primary thing that we brought here that's new is our new plates. We're calling them our bulletproof plates. So pretty much just like a highly customizable, kind of like a fresh take on a weight plate. I think they've been, everybody's seen bumper plates, everybody's seen cast iron plates. So, we wanted to do something new, stick to our core value, innovate, never replicate. And and I thought this would be a good place to bring those out.
Yeah, I planned with Patryk to do a deeper dive video today with those plates because on Vintage Weights PGH on my YouTube channel, history's in the making all the time, and I've never seen anything like them. So, how'd they come about? What was the inspiration for them? To give a brief description from what I saw yesterday, my first impression was, this is the first weight plate I've ever seen that if it's damaged, you don't have to buy a new one, you can fix it.
Yeah, so I was, I have several friends who are college trained coaches, and same with the professional athletes or reps for other larger companies that are that supply some of these big schools, and they were telling me like, Notre Dame just put in a $500,000 weight room after just a couple of years ago putting in a $400,000 weight room, and one thing I was thinking. I think this might have been Louisville, where it was close to $100,000 in just bars and bumpers from Alico, and and they were like, yeah, they're just going to get replaced again in a couple years. And so I'm just thinking about how astronomical that dollar amount is. And I was like, man, that'd be cool if there was a way to sort of like refresh your equipment. Like, how can that be done? And I think that's where the ball started rolling, and thinking like, oh, well, we've been doing this with our J-hooks. Like, why not do a plate style version? And once they get nicked up, once they get kind of damaged, or even if the logo's changed, because I went to University of Kentucky, and now they have like that weird ghost-looking cat head thing. Like, I'm not really sure what that is.
University of Pittsburgh keeps switching up on me, and I refuse to change my wardrobe.
But yeah, and I was thinking like, oh, if they had bulletproof plates, or, because we're rolling out a whole line, like our bulletproof line, and it's not going to be just, oh, now you don't need all new laser cut equipment. You just need the least expensive part of the plate is that laser cut piece of 16 gauge. It's, pretty much a 16th inch thick. We can get very high detail out of it. You swap those out, swap out the transparent polycarbonate cover, and it looks like you have brand new plates for a fraction of the cost.
So for those of you that didn't get in on HomeGymCon this year and can't really envision what Patryk's talking about, I'm going to head down there after I record the podcast this afternoon. I'm going to get some of these on video, and you can see them on Vintage Weights PGH. But going over to Jason, how about surplus strength, Jason? Anything fairly new, or something soon to be, or anything that happened this weekend that kind of, ticket holders thought were cool?
Yeah, I mean, we brought, our UPS, which has been our staple for a long time. We brought out our new 6-post compact rack, which is a 30-inch front, 18-inch rear. So it's a small footprint for the home gym owner, but still, all the benefits of a 6-post rack. We brought out our new Aegis bench, the adjustable bench, which I hope everybody got to the booth and got to check it out. I think Nice Like Mike has some good footage of what makes that a really unique bench. Most benches in general are made out of tubing, for the main frame. We decided to go with sheet metal, which is similar to our new Stealth Spotter design that, is a new take on an old design of a spotter arm, and it's side mounts, no gusset,
it totally makes sense what you said about your 6-post rack. I went against that personally, and went with a 4-post rack for that reason, that I have a small gym. But now I'm kind of thinking, man, I really like those other posts because I got a lot of plates, and I need somewhere to put them. So that resonates. But same question I asked Patryk when it comes to what you're talking about with your bench. Where'd that come from? Where'd the inspiration come from? Were you just talking with someone? Were you just thinking one day?
I personally own a really heavy, expensive adjustable bench. And I've been training my wife and her good friend in powerlifting for the last, 6-7 months. And they can never move the bench out of the way themselves.
Yeah, that's a problem.
It's frustrating.
I hear Gluck talk about it all the time, because Gluck has I think 82 benches at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
when he complains about it.
Typical adjustable bench weighs, 125 to 135 pounds. Some are even heavier depending on who you bought it from. And they're loud when you adjust them. Yeah. So those were two things that we wanted to take care of. So the new Aegis bench is nearly silent when you change the height and angle of the bench pads.
I work out at 5 in the morning, and I'm a family of 6, 4 kids. So being silent means something.
Yeah, my wife always says, if you wake them, you take them. So
that's the motto of my house, man.
I'm not messing around with that. So I work out late at night. So that's
okay. Same idea
thing.
Though. Yeah.
And, it actually turns out that it actually seats the rear arm a lot better, and it actually makes it more stable because the plastic is able to grab around that tube and hold on to it a little harder. So the entire ladder for the bench is made out of a 3/4 inch piece of acetal. It's extremely strong, extremely durable, quiet, smooth, all those things. So we sandwiched it in between 1/4 inch sheet metal to make the main frame, which also left a big gusset, so there's plenty of room for customization and things like that.
Home gym owners love to customize.
And it comes out under 110 pounds.
Wow.
So it's got a spinning handle. It's knurled on the front.
That probably helps on shipping too.
It does.
Yeah.
That's why we haven't really gotten to release it yet. We're working on even more ways to make it easier to ship and get it into a couple boxes that UPS can bring to your house rather than freight. So we've got a few more details to work out, but we're looking forward to bringing that to market.
That's exciting news. And like I said about the bulletproof plates, I'll drop a link in the description for Nice Like Mike so that you guys and gals at home can see what we're talking about, because if you didn't come to HomeGymCon, you're going to need to watch a video. But next April, come to HomeGymCon. See it for yourself. I'd love to meet you. So over on this side of the table, how about you, Dylan? AbMat, what'd you bring? So many mics.
Everything is on display for the very first time at AbMat, so it's really our first in show for each and every single one of our products. As a product developer, it's kind of strange because you're very knowledgeable on the products in which you developed, and once you finish them, you kind of just move on to the next thing, and at least I do. So you kind of assume that everybody in the world already knows about your product. So it's kind of a stark revelation to have to explain your products again and kind of go back to the roots of why you did it and how to use it and kind of show it and display it. And it's a real change for us because we've never really had to do that. We've been a wholesaler for many years, and we relied on a really, really strong distribution network for marketing and selling all of our products. So, just showing our products there doesn't do a whole lot until you show it in use. Because most of our things are very unique and novel in their design, so it's not, it doesn't come natural to look at some of our products and know exactly what their function is. But the newest product in which we just released is our pivot pad, which is a attachment that mounts to a barbell and converts it into a stationary hip thrust station. It simulates that of like a $2,000 glute bridge machine that you would see in a commercial gym.
All right.
And it feels very similar once you combine it
So great
with the hip
product
thrust
for
pad.
HomeGymCon, to have something that can be small, fit into your home gym, lower price point.
From this event, I've noticed that the products that we've created that resonated most with our consumers were the ones that replaced a standard commercial gym piece of equipment. Our preacher pad replaces a preacher curl machine. Our pivot pad replaces a hip thrust pad machine.
So that's a pattern you're picking up on.
And obviously, our barbell bomb, a real small stationary home gym, easy to travel with landmine accessory. Those have been resonating very well. But yeah, we've been very fortunate to develop a lot of products this past couple of years, and we've got a lot more on the pipeline.
Well, by the time this comes out, the Home Gym History episode with Adam from Garage Gym Lab, talking about the preacher pad and talking about the history of the preacher pad and combining the two, giving a little review from the past of the current product. One of the things I talked about with him was, you came up with this because of the Nugget couch. What prevents someone from just DIY? I mean, I got Mr. DIY, Kyle Kaizen sitting here. Why not just make my own product of what you just said? I talked with you a little bit about that yesterday too.
I encourage you to do it if that's your thing. Like I said, I make things that solve problems for people that want to buy it. There's a ton of people out. Truth be told, anyone who's capable of cutting and welding can make almost anything for their own home gym. If anyone's been following Kyle with, Kaizen DIY, you could build almost an entire gym in the lumber section at Home Depot.
But he smiles while he does it, and he likes doing that.
He does.
I don't.
He enjoys doing it. And so there's a difference, right? Because when you're talking about cost, right? Because if you buy a bridge-built rack, it's right out of the box, you use it, you try to sell it used, you're probably still going to be able to sell it for 85% of its MSRP value, right? That maintains its value. And yeah, you're going to pay more than building one out of 3x3s from Home Depot, but no one's going to buy your 3x3 rack for anything close to even your material cost once you're done with it. So from value, I still think it's a better value to buy an actual product that has some resale value than it is to build it yourself. But I follow the same rule of thumb that Kyle preaches, which is try before you buy. So if you want to try it, DIY it yourself, or and keep it, maybe you even innovate further on a product. So one of the reasons why I love Kyle so much is he builds things out of very easily accessible materials. So, I steal this line from Steve Jobs all the time. Simplicity is harder than complexity. It takes a lot of complex thought to make something so simple. And when you're dealing with wood and screws and things that are readily accessible to you, oftentimes I see the things that the DIY community making is sometimes they're an improvement upon products that have been out there. So it's very important for product developers to keep an eye on the DIY community, and I think to encourage the DIY community because it promotes innovation within the space.
And I mean, I was just talking about your company with someone before we hopped on here and saying, you know, when Dylan collaborates and when AbMat collaborates with people in a certain market, in a certain realm of the fitness industry, it doesn't just bring that product in, it brings all of your products into that market. So on your end, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, the jumping from, you know, we sold AbMats, a single product company, and we keep it under the same umbrella brand, but since we've jumped from product to product, it's not only improved our reach and our market size, our audience size, but it also, from a manufacturing standpoint, it adds new levels of manufacturing which we're capable of. So we add new materials, new capacities, new tools. So it makes it easier to go to the next step on the next product every single time because you're going forward with more information than you had before just working with foam and vinyl.
Absolutely. Now, Steve, I just filmed, like I finished my coffee this morning, came downstairs, and I just filmed a history of Kleva Built video with you, and we got into talking about the answer to this question. So I know the answer to this question, but please fill in people at home. What's something new that you brought here?
Well, this year, well, actually at this event, we're showcasing for the first time like 9-ish new products that I've been sitting on for a while. I mean, a lot of them I finished years ago, but that's the challenge of being a smaller business is you can't just continue to launch product after product when you're having to manage all the intricacies of maintaining the previous products. So yeah, we brought about 9 new products that we're pretty excited about that we're looking to launch towards end of this month, early next month. So yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, probably one after another so I can
So
have
the
a
one
breathing room.
It was a personal interest too. The one I gravitated to was a new version of your landmine attachment. So, you know, what kind of reception did you have people talk with you about that besides just me?
Yeah, well, our 1.0 was really successful. A part of that design had a slight limitation, which we tried to explain the best we can because we want to be transparent. But I think in sharing that, I think it kind of scared some people off because we're saying, hey, it has a limit to the range of motion, which is kind of outside of what anyone would really use it. But I think just like Dylan said in the past, it's kind of more about like how well can the customer understand the product. And so that, and it was a 2-bolt design, which kind of limited its mounting options. So we changed it to a 1-bolt design that's modular, works with 5/8 1-inch racks. It has like unlimited range of motion because I use needle thrust bearings and a Heim joint. And then I created a magnet mount because people are saying, hey, it'd be cool to have this thing swing up out of the way because it kind of becomes a tripping hazard when it's just hanging off the front of your rack. So
Absolutely.
So I tried to hit all those areas while still, like we made some improvements that don't really change the functionality but increases, manufacturing efficiency. And then we added their barbell pillows to the bottom of them just to make sure that every possible
That doesn't hurt.
contact point is protected. Even the magnet mount has like an acetal concave cover so that the magnet doesn't scratch your landmine.
So, I'm hearing a lot of talk of relationships from you, Dylan, and relationships you form. And then, on the flip side of things, there's been some stress, I think, is easy enough to say, Steve, with copycats, things of that nature. On a previous Inventors Roundtable, some of you guys kind of got into that a little bit, the copycat nature of things. I see a relationship between you two because you have the new Genesis jack, the Evo, correct? So you've worked together on things, but on this side of the table, we've got 2 gentlemen making racks, that probably have the same customer base. So, how, I'm sure neither one of you copied off each other, but I don't see you going to blows over here or getting in fights. You're gentlemen, so how is it that, you relate to each other in the same market? How do you, as inventors and innovators, stay friendly?
You want to talk about the pulley system?
Yeah, so I mean, it's funny that you asked that because I had somebody else ask me, hey man, is it weird in here, like being around like your competitors? And I was like, nah, dude, this is tight. Like Jason's my boy, man. You know what I mean? And this is the first time meeting Steve. Like I've, met, Dylan and I met several times, and I know like we don't directly sell the same stuff, but Jason and I do. And the way I see it, I mean, there's been countless times where I've texted Jason, called Jason. I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? Hey, can you help me with this? Like, Jason helped us like put our pulley system together. And the way that I see it is, there's plenty there's plenty for all of us to eat out there. And, I live in a space of abundance, not lack. Like, I don't think like, oh my God, Jason's gonna sell his pulleys to them. Like, bro, like if there's applications where his pulley is gonna be better for people than ours is, and vice versa. And like, that's just what it is. I feel like, yeah, if I did like rip his UPS off, then yeah, there might be some issues, you know what I mean? But again, like I respect Jason enough, like, yeah, to clap when he's winning, and because I want to see all you guys win. Like that's, at the end of the day, like that's what I personally want. And I want myself to win, and I want everybody else to win. And like, yeah, maybe the people that copy and stuff, I don't want them to win, but but I don't know. I think, yeah, I don't know. That's just not how my mind works. You know what I mean? I look at Jason, I see one of my homies. I don't see like, oh, he also sells racks and I sell racks. Like I don't know. I think that's silly, but.
I think a lot of things in life are about like who you surround yourself with, and so like Patryk elevates my game. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to use the words like I take inspiration from him, but he like his path and his business like have inspired me in my own business and our growth and how we look at things. And like being around people with that type of mindset that are like winners, like it just elevates everybody. So getting the negative people out of your life and like surround yourself, which might be scary because he looks like a competitor, but like he said, we're boys, like, and what's cooler is like every time he comes out with a win, like the BFJs and the pulley system, we're like, Brent, I'll be like, damn, those look good. Like, damn, he did it again. Like, gosh, that's awesome. And it's like, it's so cool to see him win. And like, you're saying a relationship, I mean, it's really special to have that. And I'm not sure a lot of other industries share that. And honestly, like above like where we're at, because like we're not huge companies, I don't know if they feel that way, but I hope they do. I don't know if Bert and Bill want to see each other do well, but like this is a really cool thing. I want to keep that going.
This isn't an episode of Home Gym history, so I won't do a deep dive on history, but I can just say in general that I know for a fact, being a student of history and strength history, that there wasn't this camaraderie between York and Weider, and there wasn't this type of talk between various companies that were just underhanded and squashing each other and taking each other out at every stop of the way. So when we get together here at HomeGymCon and I see you guys talking like this, I think it is a somewhat revolutionary kind of thing that is positive. Instead of taking each other out, you're bringing each other up. So as far as HomeGymCon is concerned, all four of you are established. Your companies are established. I rarely speak to someone in the home gym community that doesn't know of you, but there are some inventions downstairs that I've seen people like their eyes bug out and like, whoa, what's that? And they never heard of something. So is there something where you walked around the floor and you saw a new invention, even if it's not a smaller company, it could be a bigger company, but a new invention that made you kind of like, what is this?
I'm tipping my hat to Kim with Barbell Rescue. This is actually one that was something that I was working on for like a year. We had developed some brushes in the past, so we had bristling capabilities and molding capabilities. And during the pandemic, when everybody was trying to clean their barbells with all these really toxic, corrosive chemicals, just to keep them clean, they were corroding horribly. The chalk was getting bad because they were changing up the chalks that they were using to liquids. So there wasn't a community chalk bucket. And I was actually working out at Peak 360 down in Miami. And at the time, I was working on private yachts, and my coach came up to me and asked me for a way to clean barbells, and I had cleaned a lot of ropes in my day with a Sure-Hold brush that I would, it covered half the rope, and it was a very difficult way of cleaning a rope, but I brought a couple of them from the boat and just left them over there. And it was probably 6 months after that Rob Orlando came out with that hybrid brush, which was extraordinarily similar to the Surehold brush. And I thought it was a good step in the right direction, but it wasn't a finalized product. And then when I saw the barbell rescue brush came out, it fully encapsulated the whole barbell, and you didn't have to squeeze this thing with 40 pounds of pressure just to keep it in a curve. I thought he nailed it. There was nothing that I saw in that product that I would have changed, and I thought it was built beautifully, and his execution to market was flawless. So in terms of a new guy that has come to the market within the past several months to a year, barbell rescue, that was a good one.
Saying like most innovative or new, I mean, I don't know if you guys seen this thing. It's called the Genesis Jack. No, just kidding. No, like I knew of a lot of the stuff before coming here because like your roller J cups, those are pretty cool because it's a unique design, and I'm all about seeing stuff that's different, like just like your bench too. You can tell when you develop stuff that if someone's like taking an idea and kind of modifying it or coming up with something organically. So it's nice to see that kind of stuff. I think it was, Swing Sesh. He had a J cup there, which I know they don't do tons of gyms. It's more like jungle gym stuff, but he had a J cup on there. And I thought it was interesting to had this little like swinging latch to keep the J cup from swinging when you like, with the bar. And I know I think you guys use pins and there's other methods, but that was like a unique method that I didn't see before, which was kind of cool to see.
You guys see anything over here?
Yeah, and I know I guess no one had seen it before this, but I thought that because he just announced it yesterday, but I thought Donnie Thompson's kickstand was really cool because even Dylan and I have talked about some sort of like seal row bench that can collapse or like safe space, because they have these big massive ones that you see at gyms, and seal rows are awesome. I love doing them. And then when I looked at that, I was like, wow, yeah, like that's so simple and it's so cool.
It fits the pattern you were talking about,
Yeah, I was about to say that same.
Small
Yeah,
that replaces the large, expensive commercial equipment.
I thought that was super cool. And yeah, I also knew about the whole Swing Sesh thing. And it was just fun. Like, I was lucky enough to have my family come out, and my son was running around that thing, and we played a little bit, and I was like, yeah, this is really cool. My
kids are going to be so angry at me when they see the pictures of that because they did not come this time. So maybe I'll bring the whole family next year.
Yeah, I was going to mention the kickstand too, but Jesse from JD Gym Equip, right? What's his last name? I'll butcher it, but something like that. Incredible machinist. I thought some of his products were really unique. The way his takes were on like what you could knurl and how you could knurl it and the quality and stuff like that. It's really nice to see people continuing to push quality into the home gym space, because I think sometimes home gym owners are on a budget and they'll be the first to like, oh man, I want to get this good deal on something that looks like it works, but there's something to be said about quality and people who put time and effort into innovation and the way it actually performs when you stick it in your hands. So like to see some of his stuff on the table, that was cool.
Yeah, there's been a lot of companies here where that, just being able to, see it in person is different than seeing a picture. So that's a benefit in talking with the person that invented it or is doing the work. So when it comes to the future, the next, coming year until our next HomeGymCon, what's on the horizon for you guys here at Inventors Roundtable? What kind of stuff are you working on that you don't mind talking about? Pretty silent.
We are jumping into new manufacturing capabilities. In the past, we've been known for primarily foam and vinyl. Over the past several years, we've jumped really heavy into molding foams, and I've come to realize the reason why a lot of people don't mold foam is because it's insanely expensive, very difficult to do. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of time to truly dial in a system and a product. It's real cheap to mold other stuff, though. not plastic. We found that out. But so we're going to jump into a couple really small niche products in the cast iron space. We're working on a line of cast iron products right now with Dr. Aaron Horschig with Squat University. This is a new take on a kettlebell. It's called the U-Bell. It's for mostly overhead movements for physical therapy type purposes. It adds a lot of instability. It allows you to get your wrist directly underneath the handle rather than having it a little bit cocked forward with a big heavy slug of weight resting on your wrist.
And I was lucky enough to see a picture of that from you yesterday. And, in the history of weights, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, it slightly resembled like a kettlebell handle that some people call it a kettlebell handle that York made, but that wasn't in different weights. You would put an iron bar through it. So having the different weight set of it and no bar through it, having that, purpose to it, I think is very unique. That'll be cool to see come out.
I was very excited with the design the second that I saw it, and I was all for it.
Yeah.
This was one of the harder projects actually to bring into our pipeline because I have a business partner, Austin and I. We have to agree on almost everything, and we rarely do. So as we've been growing and progressing, and we're stretching the boundaries of what AbMat does and is, and the different materials in which we use, this one took a lot of convincing. So there was a lot of prerequisites that went into this one, and I ended up making 7 samples and sent it out to 7 completely different people within the fitness industry to get feedback on. And I kind of just left it with them for a while, never reached out and said anything. And I was at Wadapalooza down in Miami, and I ran into Dr. Aaron Horschig, and he said, "Hey, when are you launching that physical therapy bell?" I said, "Physical therapy bell?" He's like, "Oh, I just assumed that's what it was for. I've been using it within my clinic every single day." He said, "I've got like 6 or 7 people that want to buy it, and the Indian Olympic weightlifting team wants a few sets." And I was like, "Wow, never heard that before in my life." I went back to Austin, and he said, "We're not educators in physical therapy." He said, "If you went up onto a stage and try to show people how to use it," he said, "you're going to have the physical therapist, knocking on your door saying why you did something wrong." And so I reached out to Aaron. I said, "Hey, listen, do you want to collaborate with us on this and help us on the education side of things?" He said, "Sure, absolutely." He had a couple bits of feedback on things that he wanted to change. The diameter of the handle, the length of the handle, just so it didn't have any contact with your wrist. And nonetheless, there was probably 20 or 30 different prerequisites that Austin threw at me, and we ended up just coming to terms that this was a good idea, and after about a year and a half. So it's going into production here within the next couple of weeks, and hopefully it'll be on the market within the next 10 to 13.
Excellent. What about you guys? Anything else on the horizon?
I don't know if I have any predictions. Things obviously go different than how you would like or plan, but I think inevitably Sierra and I have always wanted to shift to licensing just because I love to design, not assemble and fulfill and manage. So I don't know, we'll see how it goes. We kind of play it by ear. So with all these new products, that'll change a lot of things with how the business is run. But yeah, I'm not short of any ideas, so I'd like to tackle those, but I guess it'll depend on how much space we can free up to allow that to happen.
We had brought a yoke with us that we have teased a couple times, and
I used it yesterday.
yeah, and I mean we made a couple changes literally the morning before we left. Brent was on the welding table at noon before we drove up here, and we didn't really end up having it out for everybody because there's a couple more changes that we'd like to make based on some feedback that we got Thursday. But you should be looking for the Paladin yoke. There'll be a Pro Series. That'll be a 49-inch wide yoke, not usable as a squat stand, much wider for some of the big pro strongmen. We'll be at the Music City Fit Expo. We're the equipment sponsors for Tennessee's Strongest Man this year, so they'll have 3 of the Paladin Pro yokes, a set of our locomotive wheels, and some other strongman implements that we've been making for some of the pro strongmen that live in Middle Tennessee. And we'll have a home gym version that'll just be the Paladin yoke. It'll be 43-inch interior, so you can use it as a squat stand, have a pull-up bar and stuff like that. So it'd be optimized to get it out from under the garage door and some things like that. Some other feedback that we received from the community. So
I was standing near it and talking about it with Kurt from the Kurt Locker, and he's way more experienced than me with strongman. I've never competed in strongman. I'm just a fan. And So I asked him, well, what do you see when you look at this? And he was talking about how the ease of removing the bar as compared with having to, completely unscrew something. Yours is more of like a flip down, the way you'd put on a safety, if you would.
It's the new design that we have is more like the stealth spotter, where you go straight into the upright and push in. It does still require 2 pins on the side, but from an adjustment standpoint and being able to see what height you're at like right away,
Yep.
that's one of the problems that a lot of people want to fix.
So I thought to myself, man, I could probably talk to my wife and tell her how easily I could put this away and how it's not going to take up more garage space. I could do some outdoor workouts. I could do stone over bar. I could do, yoke. I could do some squats. There's a squat rack outside. I was seeing the versatility of it as a home gym owner, so I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Patryk?
Few things here, and yet another thing that Jason actually helped me out with, because probably the number one question we get is, oh, okay, I love your products, but I hate your hole size. Is that coming?
I'm going to leave that alone.
So you might see a Phoenix rack with 1-inch holes, a little birdie.
Nice.
They're going to be very limited, though. Not that many of them, but yeah, you guys might see that soon. And there's, obviously the bulletproof line. We're going to expand on that. I guess we're going to quote unquote bulletproof a lot of our products, and also we're working on a Young Buck line. So we'll have our Clydesdale, our Phoenix, our Young Buck, and our bulletproof line. Those will be the 4.
Can you explain the Young Buck line a little more?
It's for the young bucks, man.
Oh,
yeah,
self-explanatory.
That's pretty much what it is. Yeah,
so
because
it's stuff for the younger athletes. And
yeah, so because I have a son who loves to, anytime he's in the gym with dad or when I'm working out, he likes to. I set the adjuster bar down for him. He likes to hang from it, and just certain things aren't really made for a 2, 3, 4-year-old, and so making certain things smaller, bar diameter smaller, more optimized for kids, and making it actually fun for them to use.
I love my preacher pad, but truth be told, it's mostly my 2-year-old's bench/play toy when she comes into my gym, which is every day. So, yeah, so it's, the Young Buck line, it hits home with me, man. How old's your son, if you don't mind me asking?
He will be 3 in June.
Excellent. So yeah, I've got kids that are 9, 6, 4, and 2. So I'm right around that range with my younger 2. So I'll be checking that out.
Right on, yeah.
So now to close things out here and wrap this up, what do you hope from your side, from the innovators and from the owners of companies that are in this space? What do you hope to see next year at HomeGymCon?
I was very pleased coming in here over this weekend and seeing the amount of collaboration between some of these smaller companies. You talked a little bit earlier about the competition between these two because they make racks, right? They started out as inventors first, so they wanted to make their own variations of things that were unique and novel, and they continued to do that throughout their product development lifecycle, from moving from being inventors to manufacturers. And I think that's why they're able to get along so well, because they sell similar products but different applications and different uses, and they sell to different markets. So like when you think about like Rep, Sorinex, and Titan and Rogue, they all have a very similar product basket that you can accomplish the same things with, but they sell to completely different customers. Someone who's got a $200 budget is going to go to Amazon to buy a rack. They're not going to call Patryk or Jason from Surplus Strength. But I want to continue seeing more collaboration, more bits and pieces from every single company combined together with more innovative products and offerings that solve unique solutions within the space. And I'd love to see some bigger brands out here that are trying to work with some of the smaller companies in a more intimate way and, proactively rather than retroactively.
Next year, I'd probably like to see HomeGymCon hosted in Arizona.
Fair enough.
No, but I think more people, more companies. I think this is the first year, so I think a lot of other companies were a little reluctant to make the trip because they weren't sure what to expect. But I'd say more companies like us. I mean, the majority of the companies here are kind of in the same wheelhouse of innovation. They're trying to create their own products, so I'm all for more of those kind of companies, because you're, like Patryk was saying, we're not stepping on each other's toes, as opposed to just every company having to pick from a catalog and just throwing their logos on it and all the different colors. And
As you say that, I'm thinking of a company right now. Do you have one on the tip of your mind that you'd like to see next year that's not here this year?
man,
I'll say mine if you don't. I don't want to put you on the spot too much.
go for it.
I want to see Mutant Metals out here.
Oh yeah.
I've seen Mutant Metals equipment here, and he was kind enough to, send some equipment here, and people just own his equipment. So, but I want to speak to the man. I want to speak to
Chris.
Mutant Metals. I want to speak to Chris, because I really respect what he's doing.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see him here.
Go ahead, bro.
I want to start off by saying this year was awesome. It was a good venue. It was thankfully a short drive for us. It wasn't too bad. We were lucky enough to bring Sand Dune Stepper with us, Kim from Barbell Rescue, representing some of the other companies that we have on our website. And I don't know, like, as far as who I want to see next year, it's not something that I think about a lot, because I'm always just looking to add people under our umbrella that
Or just what you want to see here next year. Do you want to see more, seminars, more athletes using your equipment, more? Because, I mean, the deadlift competition.
Yeah, I want to see another
fun,
deadlift
man.
party. I want to see somebody go over 800 next year.
That was fun.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
And the bench press Midwest Kong with those bulletproof plates, that was cool. I mean, what did he do? Like 60-some reps? 74 reps with
Insanity.
225, right? Yeah. Oh, my goodness. So, I don't want to answer for you, but it could be anything is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I think more involvement from the people who are attending, is just what I want to see. I want to see more people get here and more people
Nice.
get these products in their hand and know what's out there, because, I think especially from the people who are sitting at this table, at some level, we all got into this so we could help people move better and become the best version of themselves, become stronger, and do it in a way that's safe and productive, and maybe that they could share with their family. That's really what home gym kind of encompasses for me. And I think that we did a really good job of that this year with swing sesh, and people brought their families. Nate's kids are running around. It's just, I want more.
fun.
I want more of that. Yeah, more of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, to continue on what Jason said, I love how, essentially how intimate this was. It was really cool to, like I said, just meet everybody and actually have time to talk to people. Because even, when you're at the Arnold, it's a madhouse, and you can't really talk to anybody. It's loud. There's people on megaphones. You know what I mean? It's almost like too much. But I thought this was awesome. And in terms of what I think would be cool if more people, for example, a company like Wall Control coming, or I know a lot of people in garage gyms and home gyms put that, that slim air conditioning unit, sound systems, more companies like that coming into, just
Kinda
to.
like a home improvement show has all kinds of different things.
Right,
that have to do with
right,
home
yeah,
improvement,
just-
so it doesn't
yeah,
have
just-
to be a fitness gear producer.
Right, exactly,
It could be
exactly.
someone that
Just
caters
sort
to
of
the home gym.
elaborate, just to
a great idea.
just to make it a little bit bigger of a thing, and then bring in more people. Like the Squat University guy,
Yeah.
I'm drawing blanks on some other people.
No, but I think you just
like,
named two really good ones that are frequently, you see it on everyone's Instagram that has a home gym in the garage or in their basement or whatever. Freedom Fitness does some flooring, but that was the only gym flooring I see, and every ticket holder here has to think about their home gym flooring, so there's a pretty big market. So yeah, I think that's a great idea. Well, gentlemen, first and foremost, thank you for coming to HomeGymCon. And secondly, thank you for sitting down with me and coming on the podcast. I appreciate it. I've enjoyed getting to know you, and that's a benefit. So thank you very much. You can follow all of these gentlemen and their companies and their innovations on Instagram, YouTube, all the typical stuff, and we'll drop links in the description. And of course, please like, subscribe, and all that happy stuff. And I'll see you back on Home Gym History, where I normally reside. This is Rob from Vintage Weights, PGH for Garage Gym Experiment. Thanks a lot.
Yes,
Okay.